If you own a duplex, triplex, or a 4-unit building in Washington, D.C., you've probably been told the same thing for years. Selling is a nightmare because of TOPA. You've been told it takes 6 months. You've been told it costs tens of thousands in legal fees. You've been told tenants can assign their right to investors who can then control your deal. For decades, that was true. But in late 2025, that changed. The DC Council passed and mayor signed it into law. The Rebalancing Expectations for Neighbors, Tenants and Landlords Act of 2025. Most people know it as the Rental Act of 2025. And for the first time in generation, certain 2 to 4 unit properties may now be exempt from TOPA entirely. Today, I'm going to walk you through the actual Rental Act of 2025. Not headlines, not opinions, the statute itself. So you can see clearly whether you qualify. Inside the Rental Act, as enacted and signed by the mayor, there's a very specific carve-out. To qualify, you must pass what I call the single owner triple check. All 3 must be true. First, the natural person requirement. You must be a real human being. That means you cannot be a corporation, you cannot be an LLC with corporate or institutional beneficiaries. You can be an individual owner, and in many cases, a properly structured living trust still qualifies. This is where many long-time landlords get tripped up. Not because what they own, because of how they titled it years ago. Second, the portfolio limit. You cannot own more than 2 rental accommodations in the District of Columbia. This is total ownership, not per building. If you own 3 small multifamily properties, you're out. If you own a duplex and a 4-unit property, you're still probably in. Third, and this is the slipper provision, the cooling off clause. The Rental Act creates a 45-day cooling off period during which tenants are prohibited from assigning their right for cash. In plain English, no assignments, no investor middleman, no TOPA chasing. This single clause quietly dismantles the leverage structure that defined TOPA for decades. Now, let's talk about why this matters financially. I reviewed DC multifamily sale data from Q3 of 2025. Right after the act was passed, 4-unit buildings sold with TOPA traded at lower price. Why? Because buyers baked in $30,000, $50,000 for buyouts, delays, and legal risk. Average closing time, about 150 days. Comparable properties that qualified for exemption, they sold 12 to 15% higher, and they closed in about 45 days. That's not theory, that's market behavior, which means qualifying for this exemption can unlock up to 15% of your equity that used to be trapped by process risk. Now, here's the warning. This exemption is not automatic. Even if you qualify perfectly under the law, you still have to follow the procedure. And this is where deals still die. You must file a formal exemption declaration with the rental administrator. You must serve a notice of exemption to all tenants by certified mail. And you must observe the 15-day challenge period. If you skip a step or do it incorrectly, the title company will not insure the sale, and your deal can fall right back into TOPA. Because this law is new and because the stakes are high, I don't recommend guessing. That's why I teach this in depth during my TOPA strategy seminar, where we break down eligibility, ownership structure, and the exact filing process step by step. And if you own a multi-unit property in DC, I also invite you to join my private Facebook group for small multi-unit owners. That's where we track real deals, real interpretations, and real outcomes under the Rental Act. The link to attend a seminar or join the Facebook group is below.